Y'all to Pop Investments. I'm Erin Janelle Dickey, and I have some special friends here today. We have Carla, she's back. And we
Ooh,
also have my bestie, Erica. And so we
hi.
are going to talk today about life's journey and just what that means and being rich in spirit. I'm going to tell you all what I think. Sometimes I think so many people get caught up in material things. So it's all about, I've got to have this big house. I've got to drive this type of car, or I have to wear these type of clothes and shoes and everything. Till I think sometimes we forget about the little things, the things that we're rich in spirit. So I
Mm.
knew that you all would be the perfect people to talk to about being rich in spirit. So I'll start with you, Carla, because you're right here on this side. And
Okay.
so I want to know, what does being rich in spirit to you mean?
Well, I like how you said about the focus on the material because it's the opposite. It's not about anything. It's nothing of this world that enriches you or makes you happy or fulfills you. It is the relationship that you have with God and the joy that you gain from just thinking on his goodness and his blessings. I mean, when I can have a day of like quiet where I can just muse on him, take a walk, just look on nature. And it can be the simplest thing that I see or hear or read that he speaks to me through. And people can be losing their minds around me and it will not faze me
Mhm.
because being rich in him, it brings fullness. So you don't get caught up with what she has going on over there, what he talking about over here, because none of y'all can do me like Jesus.
Amen.
So that's all I got.
Erica?
Um, when I think about spiritual richness, I kind of just break it down. When I think about the spirit man, because when you really break it down for those who are believers, we know that we are three parts, that we are the carnal part, the fleshly part, then we have our soul, our mind, will, and emotions, and then we have our spiritual part.
Mhm.
And so when we're talking about the spirit man, that is the part that is allow us to overcome. And when we're rich in that, it's the part that we're intentionally feeding to when we're going through things, when things are when things are good or when things are bad. It is that
Mhm.
part of us, it is the God in us that is able allow us to function in everyday life, and it allows us to like Carla was saying, when things around you or it seems crazy or difficult or if nothing bothers you,
Mhm.
when you know you're operating in that strength that God has put inside of you, um you allowing that richness to manifest and to function in your life and lead you as you're walking through life. So um yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about when you think about spiritual richness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you all have said it. And I just think it's being rich in your soul, like you said, just being
Mhm.
grateful for what God gives us.
Yeah.
Just being grateful, like you said, Carla, being able to walk. Like, well, I'm
Mhm.
a beautiful day, you're walking in the park and you're like, dang, it's just beautiful out here. I thank God for these blessings. And
Mm.
that's when I feel the richest in spirit, just being able
Mhm.
to see God's creation. And I'm gonna tell y'all about yesterday. So yesterday, one of my students, she was recognized. She won this poem about teachers. So she wrote this
Mm.
poem about teachers, and she won. And she performed her poem at Georgia State at this. They had a celebration. It was actually a Black History Month celebration. So she did her poem. And then after that, I was downtown. So I was like, I'm just gonna walk around. But it was like a lot of homeless people,
Yeah.
and I was walking amongst the homeless people. It was at on close to Georgia State, and I'm walking around, and I'm walking, and I'm just walking and recording, and just taking pictures and stuff. And then I see this group. They're singing "Praise is What I Do." So they
Mhm.
got this big boom box, and they're singing literally like they sitting here. I mean, it was praise song after praise song,
Yeah.
and they praising God, and they were homeless. You all homeless.
Mhm.
And I said, it's amazing because those people have, and they were happy and they were in the
Mm.
moment. So it's amazing that they might be richer in spirit than someone that's living in a big house. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when you live in fancy houses or when you drive cars, what I found out is everybody's not happy. Material things don't make you happy. They make you comfortable. Me and Erica always talk about our millions and what we want to bless others, and also to, just really enjoy what God has on this earth. But at the same time, you can be spiritually rich in the inside, and you might not have as much as some people have. What are y'all's thoughts? I just want us to have a conversation. Let's see where this leads us.
Yeah, well, I just definitely can chime in on when you said like the homeless people, how happy they were and how present they were, and how they probably were more spiritually rich than people in a big home. But the word that stuck out to me was being present. And I think that's what we miss a lot. Like, period, is being present, thinking too much in the future. How am I going to get past this? Or I got to pay this bill. Or I got to take care of this. Or how I'm going to accomplish this goal. Or harping on the past. I can't believe this happened to me. Why me? And, how do I get through this? Instead of like taking a moment to be present and can actually take in, this moment. Because I had a rough week. Mm-hmm. But today at church, it was like, there was nothing but what was in that moment, me singing praises to God, listening to testimony. I was very present. I was very aware of just the moment that I was living in, not thinking about tomorrow and not thinking about the week behind me. And I was full. I'm still full to the brim. And I know I have a long week ahead, but I'm not trying to go there just yet, because I'm still wanting to stay even present for this conversation. And it's easy, because I can say, some people may say, oh, you have some nice things, but I know these nice things, like you said, they just make you comfortable, but it doesn't, I can still be over here sad on a nice sofa, in an air-conditioned home, still can be over here sad, if I don't have something to pull joy from. And that's something that only God gives, when it can just bring you out, like out of the lowest of low, and everybody else around you may seem like they have more or like they have it going on, but you have something, this peace, because you just know in this moment, God, you got me, and you love me for who I am. So it's just a lot in being present. So that stood out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you were saying, and it was just having me think about like, it's important to focus on the good things that God has given us, because it affects how we live and who we are as people, how we make decisions, how we live our everyday lives. And that peace and that joy you have, those are the fruit of the Spirit. And so you get that from seeking God first in all our ways. We have to be able to acknowledge Him in everything, seeking Him first, and allowing Him to lead in our lives. And that creates that richness, that fullness that we want, spiritually. And sometimes it can get difficult when you're going through life, but just focusing on those things. And one thing I just thinking about it, me and my sister was having a conversation, Liz, and I posed the question, or she posed the question, and we was kind of having this discussion. I have my own view of it, but so to be spiritually rich, okay, you feel like you're spiritually rich, but you have something like, for instance, you going through a death in the family that takes you down. And you feeling that, and you're letting your emotions and your sadness take over. Does that necessarily mean that you're not spiritually rich? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say no, because we're human too. And I think we have to allow ourselves to be human. And so just because you're down and out, you're going to be, that's a part of life. So there's, you're not going to just lose someone and be happy. I think that's just a part of life. It doesn't mean now what I do feel like you can be spiritually rich from their memories, and the things that you've had, you take their memories with you, and you take those pictures and everything that you have. That's what makes you rich. That foundation will allow you to go on.
Yeah.
I think that, and it's like you said earlier, Erica, about the three parts that we are, right? So the natural man, the natural side of ourselves, God gives us grace. He gives us a lot of grace to feel, to go through our emotions, right? And it is only, I believe, depending on how spiritually rich you are, will determine how you process the death or process the rough spot, how quickly you come back up, to not drown in it, versus to process and have your emotions, feel all of the things, but still come out on the other side like, okay, God, I'm ready to breathe, I'm ready to move again, because if you are empty, first of all, you have to have a relationship to even be spiritually rich, but that's
right.
But if you don't even have the relationship, right, and you're just grieving, you don't have what you need to help you process and move it through that grievance. Because when I lost my aunt last year, I mean, it was just like I wasn't on top of the mountain, but because of being, and we just keep using the phrase spiritually rich, I was able to still go to work, still go in front of kids, and not take out my hurt, my pain on anybody. No one could tell what I was going through, but I had my core community that I could like pour out to, but still have what I need, have the strength, have the wherewithal to understand, like, this is a part of life. Carla, you have to keep going. God got you. He's allowed this to happen. You accept this. You take this the right way. Get what you need. You say all the things to yourself, but it's because of having that fullness in Him is how I was able to process it. But when I was able to be sad, I know He gave me the grace, because He was like, you still in the body of flesh. So you take your time. Just don't stay there too long. So I feel like it's connected, but definitely doesn't mean you're not, just because you're going to be sad at times.
Right. And y'all kind of hitting to what I was saying, because like you said, we're human and we're allowed to feel certain things, because when Jesus came to earth, he was all man and so He understands and He knows. And there were times in the Bible where He was emotional. He got angry, He got sad, He wept. So we as humans, we're going to have those times where we grieve, or we get upset, or we get angry, or we feel heartbroken, or we're going to feel all those emotions. But when you're spiritually rich, you're able to come out of that. And it's not enough to just know God. I mean, just to know of Him. You just have to really have a relationship and a closeness with Him, because it's the reason that you're for some people to continue to operate out of emotion and make decisions out of emotion is because they're lacking something. They're lacking that richness. They haven't invested in their time to be close with God, that gap. There are some, I heard a pastor say today, God allows certain gaps in our I guess in our heart that only God can feel. Because He's going to allow, a lot of people try to use other things to fill that gap, but only God can fill that. And it's in having that spiritual richness and closeness with God and relationship with God that you're able to know that, okay, this is who I lean and depend on. This is who I can turn to when things are looking bleak, saying, but because as someone who may be going through, I just want to, just tell people out there that may be listening that, seek God. He's the one that allows us to pick ourselves up. He has the strength that you need to I know someone personally that's And last week I found out I lost my cousin. And so it's just allowing us to still continue on with life. We know that, we'll get past this, and sometimes it gets a little harder depending on how close the person is with you, but allow God to come in and to strengthen you and just seek him, because you can't do it by yourself. Allow him to come in and comfort you and help you move forward. So that's the thing that's gotten me this far, and I know that's the thing that's going to keep me going in the future. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, because somebody watching will need that, Erica. And a lot of times we don't know why a certain, like, say for instance, we were supposed to do this last week, but you don't know who needs to hear that. And from somebody who has suffered, you all, Erica, I don't want to tell her business, but she suffered a great loss. And for her to say that and still be able to be anchored, in the Lord is amazing. Because we have to take the things that we go through. I feel like we don't have to all be transparent. Because I'm a transparent person to a certain extent, but we all go through life, and we have to help each other through this journey.
Yeah.
Right. And life is really a big journey. And it has ups, it has downs, it has setbacks and loss. And the older I get, I'm realizing that, like, the journey it's big, it's complex, it's mysterious, but we do have to believe in God, to me, in order to keep going, because we all go through it. And loss is a part of life. And that's something that we don't talk about a lot, because we always talk about the things that are good, but then we see it. And I appreciate some of the people that are vulnerable, that go through things,
for sure,
and they post it on social media, because then you help somebody else that's going through.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that have gone through a similar situation.
There's a lot of loss happening now. I don't know what it is. I just pray, like, it's just so much going on from what I'm seeing, and it's hard. Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your loss, Erica. I was thinking, when Aaron was talking about being transparent, like I know, because of certain people, like, they be looking for something to grab a hold to, but I am a transparent person. I like sharing, because I feel like I don't want people to think of me personally, or think that Christians are just, go tell it on the mouth, and just happy, and we just singing and praising all day. That is a part of what that keeps us going, but it be something like that that's on there. I've had some bad days, like you have some bad days, but social media, especially because of that platform, we don't normally just post about the bad days. We try to take the good pictures and talk about the good things. But I had been debating going back and forth on sharing my journey last year, which that led me to surgery, and talk about the type of surgery and what that means and what it meant, for me personally. And and then you going back and forth in your mind, like, oh, for the nosy folks. But I'm like, but no, it's so many more people that need to hear that Carla Hawkins, who always over there smiling and helping the kids and singing, has had some rough days and had some setbacks, and it's hard to even say it in a sense it's a setback, but then in another sense, God allowed it. So it's just a part of my story. But I feel like people need to know that it's not about what you go through, it's how you bounce back. It's how you cling to Jesus more, or do you allow the hurt, the anger, the pain to take you into a dark place, and that's easy. That is the easy road. That's why with Jesus, we can, somehow find a way to get back up and keep moving with loss, with pain, with suffering. And and I know Erica's known me a long time and know how much I love kids and all of that, but I guess I'll just say this much of it, like at age 40, like to find out, oh, you're going to need to have a hysterectomy. And a lot of women get it. A lot of women have it. But if you've never had a child before and, definitely didn't see it coming, and you're like, oh, wow, like this is for real, and trying to find videos and find things of people who've been through it so you can know what to expect. And you see women weeping, but they're like, yeah, I wanted a third child. But I'm like, you already have at least one. Like I won't even get to have that, and it took someone, special and close to me to tell me that, give me what I needed to hear to get my perspective in the right place, to understand where I was, but at the same time, the quality of life that I gained after, because I needed the surgery and my quality of life was low. So, but to go through that, to understand and accept God's will. And he's like, I gave you a whole lot of children. You got all these children in the church. You got all these children in the school system that look to you as a mother. You are a mother, but then have to go in front of the people, go back on camera, or go back on social media and still be me without people. What's wrong with Carla? She's not the same. All because I'm just stuck on my situation when other people are going through worse. And the fact that God allowed it, so having him and being spiritually rich is what got me through and what keeps me going when people see me and they hadn't seen me in a minute. God, I just knew you was going to have children by now. I just knew. Or one lady said, I knew you was in the hospital. Did you have a baby? I'm like,
see, no. I can go in a whole nother rant when it comes to that, because I feel your pain on that. I can never understand what it's like to have to go through that, and not have any kids and want kids. But I had to go through that same type of pain. I had to have a hysterectomy, and it was just such a final thing that you say, I can't have any more,
Yeah.
So, it depends on, of course, that's a whole medical thing, and it depends. You can probably still have some if you have a surrogate, it's a whole thing. But you can't bury your own kids, and that's such a final thing. But when some people ask, and you have to be careful when asking, and this is totally off topic, but be careful when you talk about to people, because you never know their journey. Don't ask people when they're going to have kids. You never know the journey that they're taking. They may be having struggles in that area or can't have any. And who was that? So I heard somebody say, "Stay out my womb. Stay out my womb."
That's a good one.
Stuff out of you, just being nosy, and because that's just what people ask. But I think we need to develop a new thing where we just say, before we start asking people about their kids, just asking how they are, if they want it. Just find that out before you be like, when you having kids, or you gonna have or stay out the womb. Stay out the womb.
Stay out the womb.
I just throw that out there.
I like that one. People are insensitive to some of the questions that they ask you. It amazes me how people are. They will ask you anything, and I don't even think to ask people some of the things that I've been asked, because I don't care about your life. Like, literally, I really don't. Like, the only thing I care about is happiness and trying to be happy. Honestly,
when you gonna have kids?
What you say, Erica?
It's like, when you gonna get married? When you gonna have kids? Like, personalized. Some people don't want to get married. People don't want to have kids.
That's true.
And then it's just a stigma. It's that stigma of like, oh, what we're supposed to be, by this age, it's just people can't get out of that stigma. That's why it goes back to what you said, Aaron, earlier about material things. It's no race. There's no competition. There's no like, oh, I'm supposed to keep up with this. It's just your personal journey is your own, and you're going to get to where you're going to get when you get to it. But it kills me. And so now, like, I like what Erica, I may use what Erica said, but I told that lady who asked me, I heard you were in the hospital. I heard you had babies. I was like, no, I had 3 fibroids, triplets.
Oh,
and she was so taken aback.
That'll learn you.
But I was like, it'll help. It'll help the next. It'll help her from doing that to the next several women, because we just have a thing, an image of what we think people should be in their lives, and especially if you're God, you love God. I know you're this. God still loves me. And
Right.
he's blessed me in so many
Right.
other ways. So we have to first get out of the stigma of what we think life is supposed to look like for a
What is
woman
supposed
of a
to, yeah.
certain age.
Yeah.
And then, just like you said, Erin, show up and just be like, how are you doing? It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in years. Let the conversation guide where it goes, but not to inquire off the bat after I haven't seen you in 20 years.
Right. And I think a part of that, with us living our lives and continue to move and things shift and change, and the older I get, the more I understand that there's never really an end goal. It's okay to set goals and parameters, things that you looking or working towards,
Yeah.
but that needle is always going to be moving, and things are always going to shift, and life is going to throw curveballs, and things are going to happen. So it's always important to continue to move and adjust as things come.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think that is really helpful is making sure that you understand what your purpose is.
That's so true.
When you know what your purpose is, that helps you to keep going and to keep moving, because it's about something bigger than yourself.
Mhm.
And when you have something that you're working towards, or you're gaining momentum towards, that helps you to create the life that you are supposed to live. And it's just amazing what doors open, who is attracted to you, what opportunities come your way as you continue to walk in your purpose. And that creates some level of richness in your life, because that when you understand why you're here and what God created you for and to do here in this life, I mean, that makes life a little bit, say easy, but it makes it easier because you can guide your decision making around what that is. You know what I'm saying? If I'm here to be a change agent and to help people overcome grief, then I say, okay, well, I maybe need to stay here because I see a need for that here. I'm going to make a decision to stay here in this particular city. I'm going to make a decision to get educated and be a grief therapist and to have a practice to, you know what I'm saying? That helps you make decisions in your life to create more and work more in your purpose. If you just understand that a little bit more. So I think that helps you to become richer spiritually when you're understanding a little bit more about purpose.
True.
I think, and you're right, Erica, it's about your purpose. And sometimes life's journey will shape your purpose. Because you might not say, for instance, we're just going to say grief counselor. Person might not thought that they would be a grief counselor, but then something happens and they're like, you know what, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. So you're right. I think it's about purpose. And I like what Michelle Obama said, we're always evolving. Because we are. And it's okay, like you wanted to be this thing when you were this age. And then you decided to do this thing when you're this age. And shoot, when you're 50, 60, you might to change it to something else.
Yeah.
It's okay because we don't have to be set on these parameters of life. We live in a great time right now where we can constantly pursue things that we want to do. And we're just always evolving. Things happen and they change your mindset. And so you're like, oh, I want to do this. I want to help this. You want to do so many things and you can.
Yeah. And it's just funny, like when you said about purpose, Erica, I was like, oh, that speaks to me and speaks to my soul so much. Like, and again, I have to say it again for those listening, it is first the relationship with God. If you out here like idly going through life and trying to discover your purpose, or may think you know your purpose, and He is not a part of it, it's still not going to give you the fulfillment that you could have. And because, like you said, Erin, as life's journey starts to dictate and redefine your purpose, it's only because of God that, for me, from the furthest age I can remember of wanting to be a mother, and I'm like, he's like, you are. He redefined what that looked like through my journey. But if I had not had Him, I would have just looked at the world and compared myself to other women.
Yeah.
my age, and it would have been it just would have been a battle of, well, let me just try to accept this is my life, but maybe having to find some type of vice or something, because you're not just going to be 100% on trying to be all strong and, oh, I got this. God is my rock. It is what it is. I'll never give myself credit because people are like, you're so confident and you just know you're so aware of what your purpose is, and I'm like, but it's because of him. Because if something hit me hard enough, I may not have motivation to get out of bed. But again, it goes back to him and my relationship with him, because it's like I'm trying to make him proud. Am I living for myself? Did God not give his son to die on the cross? And then I say, I accept you and I give you my life. I give my life over to you and you take the wheel, you lead and guide me. So why do I feel in that scenario that I still have some say about what I want to do with my life? Yielding to him and his will and following and trusting in him is relinquishing that control, and it's relinquishing what I think I know. And that if he allows my life to take all types of winding paths, that I trust him. And I know that he has what's best for me, so that even when I deal with the flesh part of, oh, this hurt. Oh, I didn't expect this. Oh, what people gonna say. Oh, that it doesn't matter, because it's about him.
Yep.
And not about what I think I wanted for my life. And when you have that, it is a peace. I had some kids that from my church told me today. They was like, the way you was singing. Oh, the way you was singing today. It was like, last time you sang that song, it was a little shaky, but today it was so crisp, so clear. And I'm like, get out my face. But it's like to have, they didn't know the week I had. But again, it's about him. I'm like, it's his world. I'm living in it. I'm like, I'm wanting God to know, like, I'm sold out for you. And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to understand that my relationship with him depends. It comes with, I don't know anything. I'm done. I'm not trying to control. I said you have the will, then that's what it is, And people don't understand that connection. You can't do what you want to do and say, I'm about Jesus.
Yeah,
it's true. Because he'll change it and switch it up on you, and you have to be willing to switch it up. Okay, this is where he wants me to be.
Yes.
So you have to just stay there until he gives you another assignment. You're right, Carla. You are right.
Ooh, Carla, can we request a song or something? I ain't heard you sing in forever, girl. You just
that's so funny.
I'm
in a singing mood.
Hear a note from Carla Hawkins, honey. Woo.
It's like, what song? But
listen, and that's the thing. But music is beautiful, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all. Sometimes when I'm going through life's moments, music is like, it's just beautiful. It's amazing where music can take you. So all of us grew up in the church, and Erica and I went to choir anniversaries. And so when it's amazing, like if I'm at church or if I'm listening to church or online and they break out those old hymns, I'll be so excited because, it's those hymns. And my grandparents, they weren't the richest people financially, but they were rich in spirit. And one thing my grandmother used to say is, if the Lord be my helper, that's the one thing, if it's God's will. So you're right. When you say that, that, you heard that come out of her mouth. If it's God's will, if God is my helper, and they were rich. To me, they were some of the richest people I know, because they were rich in God and spirit, and they didn't have all this technology and iPhones and computers and could talk to each other online. But Lord have mercy, they was happy. Literally, they were happy.
Right.
Exactly. I hope for the future since we deal with kids, I just be hoping that it's because they're not having and experiencing our childhood experiences, without the influence of the negative and harmful effects of social media and technology and cell phones and the dependency they have, the attention span decreasing every 60-second video. And I'm like, God, please protect these kids, because our future is not, it doesn't look bright when every time you look up, they're like drones, like, into these devices. And it makes, and it may be every 50 videos, maybe a video about, if that comes upon their news feed, something about God, something about Jesus, but then it's like the next one could be something talking about sex or something talking about the next hot thing or the next hot outfit. So it's like, it's so many distractions in this world. And that's another thing that helps me not to be caught up with what I think I don't have or what I think I'm missing, because I'm like, being fulfilled with God doesn't have me wanting or looking for nothing, and I know, like you and Erica was talking about earlier, you're thinking about if you did have millions, what you could do, who you could help with it. That's a different mindset versus I just want money so I can get for me, and travel and do all of these things. But to what end? Like, can you really say at the end of the day you're fulfilled and you're content and you're grateful for what you have? And I was not always this way. I tried. I'm just thankful God didn't give up on me and then let me go. But I was just like, I'm going to make my goals and my dreams work. I'm going to make this situation happen. And thank God he didn't let it be, because I would have been married and probably would have had kids by now. But trying to strangle the dude, and like, what's wrong with these demons? So I was like, God knew what he was doing. I'm so glad, and I tell people, and kids especially, that's why they don't need to get caught up. Because when you keep living, them same people who be like, girl, I thought you would have been mad. Oh, I thought you would have this. When they get through talking and breaking down their situation, after I get through talking, they're like, girl, I wish I could be like you. Child, be so tired. I'm like, now the truth comes out.
Grass ain't always greener, honey.
It's that part.
And that's why y'all, we have to appreciate our journey, and that's where I have to let people, sometimes I've had people try to put me in a box, and you can't put me in a box, because my life is literally my life. And so the things that I'm supposed to go through, I'm going to go through them. And it's okay. It's okay to go through your own journey. We all, like you said, you have children. Those kids, believe me, I had a bunch of children. I mean, literally, I was at one of my kids' performance yesterday. I've always wanted a daughter, and I ended up with no daughters. I even named my daughter. What's my daughter's name, Erica?
Naomi.
I even named my daughter Naomi. I was supposed to have my Naomi. Naomi is on a vision board somewhere here. But I've got Naomi some clothes and everything else, but Naomi, I don't have Naomi, and that's okay, because I've got a bunch of beautiful daughters at school, and just you give love to who you have. You give love to who you have. I wanted to be married. I ended up not married because life ended up the way it was. So I've got my Nicholas, but I wanted to be married. I wanted to have I wanted to have at least 3 kids. Like, literally, that was my life. And I was fixated on it from 30 to about 35. I was really fixated. And then something just came and said, just let it be. And now I'm happy, I'm happy with where God has led me. And I feel like I wouldn't have met some of the people, influenced some of the people I have, because I might not have a lot financially, but I can give a lot of love to the people I meet. So it's a lot of kids I give a lot of love to. And when I look at it, kids watch you and you don't even know they're watching you. And my Instagram stories. So y'all, I use my Instagram stories, and it's a reason why I post a lot of inspiration on my Instagram stories. My kids started looking at my stories, and then Nicholas' friends started looking at my stories. And I was like, if that's how I can reach them, That's
Yeah.
how I'm gonna reach them. Because
Yeah.
these kids started looking, I'm posting, inspirational stuff. And then I realized these kids keep looking at it. And I can put 10 videos up and I might have like 5 young men that watch
Yeah.
that story. So I'm like, oh, so that's how I can get to them?
Yeah.
Better be posting those stories.
So I post motivational stuff, and it's
Mhm.
because we never know. I believe in using your digital footprint, and my
Yeah.
journey is about right now. The place I'm at in my life right now is using my digital footprint to help others, no matter how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
And you're
it.
inspiring, Carla, and
Oh,
you can see the God in you. That's what I
Mhm.
told Erica. I was like,
Yeah.
you just feel her love. You just
Yeah, she's
from that
always been like that. Always
yeah,
been
you
like
just
that.
feel that love.
Mary.
It's-
Well, I have a question, if you don't mind, if I could pose while y'all were talking. What do you think is important, or how can you help someone who's trying to figure out how can I become spiritually rich or maintain my richness? What would you tell them? How would you advise?
First thing that came to my mind is first thing that came to my mind was first receiving Christ as your savior if you haven't, and to understand what a relationship with him means, because it's definitely self-sacrificing. You're laying down your life, and you're yielding to him. But then the second thing that came to my mind was connecting with the right people. Connecting, even if it's just one person. You have to be surrounded with somebody who is not like you, who's not going to tell you what you would tell yourself. You need someone spiritually sound that can pour into you, tell you what you need to hear, even when you don't want to hear it. And I love the people who hold me accountable, who when I say give me the business, I'm not talking about in love, but I love it because I need it, and I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't had, the village that I have pouring into me. And I can say, even if I can narrow it down to one person in particular who I saw a self live and still see live a self-sacrificing life. And they don't preach and teach. They actually live what they're saying. So when they pour into me, it has power. I believe them. I know they love me. They have nothing to gain. They look for nothing from me, but they really care about my well-being, and hurt when I hurt, rejoice when I'm rejoicing. So if you can connect, and I put myself out there, because I say, and I appreciate what y'all said about being inspiring, but I know that a part of my purpose is to be to people what God has been to me, and pour out. I want to give back, and I want to be for people. I want them to feel what I felt, like what keeps me going. And that's the spiritual richness I have is from what's been poured into me from who I connected to. So people talk about small Benny. I would rather be nowhere else, because if that person moves, then I'll move, and I ain't going nowhere. I would never, ever leave. But that goes hand in hand, because we can't do this on our own, right? So that's what came to my mind.
And for me, this is how I stay spiritually rich. First of all, I look back over my life and I think about everything God has done for me. And so I think about the small things, and literally I'm really a gratitude type of person, and I'm grateful for everything, y'all. Like literally I'm grateful for everything. And gratitude is what makes me spiritually rich. And I look sometimes, and I look at things like, I look on the internet, I look at YouTube, and I see these kids that are in different countries and they're struggling. I look at the people in Ukraine, and I look at the people that just went the earthquake in Turkey. And it's things like that make me grateful and make me feel spiritually rich. Like literally, like I'm sitting here tonight, even though y'all, we did have gunshots in my neighborhood the other night, but most nights I can go to sleep and peacefully. You know,
Yeah.
most nights I can sit in my bed and watch TV and get on my computer and take my journal and just the little things. So the
Yeah.
little things make me spiritually rich. It's not about the big things. It's about being able to, I survived open heart surgery. You know, it's about waking up every single day. God gave me this day, so I need to use it. So it's just about the small things. That's how I stay
Yes.
spiritually rich.
Yes.
Because I'm
Gratitude.
That's so true. I could say, Aaron, I just want to just say how much I admire you and thank you for your willingness to create change, because even with you
Yeah.
doing stuff like this, it's helping somebody. Even if it was to help one person, these
Yeah.
live recordings you do to be able to help somebody in some type of way, whether it's talking about, you know, the mindset, pop mindset, or you talking about spiritual
Yeah.
richness, or you talking about finances and investing. So I'm thankful for you to be able to be persistent in putting that out into the world. And
Absolutely.
I do admire how you are grateful about the small things. And so thank you, Aaron, for all you're doing out there.
Thank
So
you. Well, I have a question. How do you stay spiritually rich?
Aside, I first thing, like Carla was saying, like it just accepting Christ as my Lord and Savior. But when you said relationships, that was another thing. Like I believe wholeheartedly that relationships matter and they make a difference in who you are and where you're going. I've always heard that you're the sum of the top 5 people you hang around the most or that you listen to the most. And sure enough, you are. If you're allowing negative people to be around you, you're going to continue to see life negatively and you're going to operate negatively. You're going to make decisions out of a negative mindset. It's just amazing when you are around certain people that are able to hold you accountable and stretch you and not allow you to sit in your comfort zone, how much you can accomplish and what you can do out of life. One of my biggest prayers has always been to have more of those people in my life. And so I believe relationships are very important. I think one thing that's huge for me is being intentional about getting a word, getting the right messages, listen to the right people.
Yeah.
There are certain people that I listen to, certain pastors and speakers that I listen to. There are certain books that I read. I need to get back into reading. I kind of got away from reading certain books, but I seek out information. I'm at the core of me, I love learning. If I could go back to school, I probably would, but I don't want to get no more student loans. So but I love learning. I've taken, you know, aside from specialized learning and going to getting degrees, I've taken other courses around business, around personal development, around spiritual growth. One of my top things has always been growth around personal, professional, and spiritual growth. And the spiritual part has always been a big thing for me. I listen to different, like with YouTube and podcasts now. So those are huge for me. I listen to certain people. So those things that feed me spiritually, that's what helps keep me going, because I'm able to not allow certain things to knock me off. When certain things seem to get people off, I'm like, I notice where I could tell the growth when I am more steady in my decision making and how I move forward when certain things happen. And I'm like, okay, you know, all right. And what's next? What you got, devil? Because I'm still keep moving. I'm still keep pressing. Nothing, because God got me. So, you know, it's just that sort of thing. And I think that's helped me over the years to stay true to who I'm supposed to be, because I understand that where I need to go and where I want to go in life, I can't let some small things get in the way. And there's certain things that I have to know and be in order to walk fully in that. And so
Very true.
The friendship connection is really important to you all, and that's how you're rich too. It's funny because it's a connection here, okay? So we're gonna put Erica in the middle of this connection, right? So she's connected to both of us.
Yeah.
And so Erica and I have been friends since we were 12 years old. Have we agreed on everything? No. Have there been times where we didn't talk in life?
Yep.
That's true. But that's what the journey is about.
Yeah.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that it's the truth.
Yeah.
But we are sisters, literally.
Yeah.
You know, and she knows me and I know her, and we know our ways. And you get to know somebody's ways and you just be like, oh, that's Erica, that's Aaron. You know, but that is a part of the journey. And having a rich friendship is amazing.
It is. It is.
And you know, and then Carla, Erica shared with me, you were there right when Devin was born and baby and all that. So I mean, it's amazing.
I know, and we still sing that song. Oh, it's time to go.
See, look, they got a song together.
I'm done.
Like, do y'all know how happy they got when they started singing that
Old
song?
pictures.
I love it. I still have pictures. That's why I can't believe how handsome and big he is now. I'm like,
I know he's 18 now, and it's just
and it's the power of.
And then sometimes we don't talk, Carla, but then when we talk, it's just like we never, left, and we just pick right up where we left off, and
it's like that.
So
and that's
you
what
said sister. I still consider Erica a sister to me because literally it's like that. If we talk once we get a chance to connect, all we're gonna do is just make up for lost time and catch up where we left off the last. And it's no love lost. I don't know. I just when I got connected to you, it was just like I love her. I just love her, and that's how I feel. Like we met in college, Aaron. So and all the competitions and stuff we did, and then going over each other's houses and babysitting. I'm just like, it's just some people who are like part of the roots. You know how you have branches and leaves. Tyler Perry made that. That symbolism. I'm like, she's not a leaf, she's not a branch that can easily be broken. Like she got rooted some type of way. And I'm always gonna have care and love, for you. And I do echo what Erica said about you, Aaron, because I've been talking about vlogging or doing a podcast for years. And I'm like, I'm seeing it happen, and I'm seeing the fruits that you provide for people. I'm like, and the topics too matter, because it's hard to watch podcasts and follow people when they switch up or start compromising and trying to, to get up to, to get bigger. I'm like, I'm off that now, so it's hard for me to stay consistent with people depending on what they're talking about on their podcast. And I love everything you've been bringing to the table. So I do want to say that.
Thank you so much. I thank you all. I know Carla has to leave because she has to inspire some girls in a few minutes. But I want to say shout out to Erica, y'all. That pink and black book behind her is Girl Talk 101, my first book that I wrote in my 20s.
Nice.
So I love the plug. You see what a friend does.
It was right there.
You see what a friend does.
Now I gotta check it out. Now I gotta
right there
check
on my
it out.
bookshelf, just ready to,
I do want to sing just a little bit, a little snippet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we want you to sing. That was the next thing.
Oh yeah.
Reading my mind. She's gonna take us out, y'all.
Okay, I'm gonna take us out because especially with the topic, the song came to me. I'd rather have Jesus. That's gonna be what I sing a little bit of.
Right.
Let me get my fake mic. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. I'd rather have him than half the chance untold. I'd rather have Jesus than thousands of lambs. I'd rather be faithful to his dear cause than to be the king of a vast domain and be held in sin have my Jesus than anything this world affords today.
Woo! Woo! Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
And that's the way we ending that, you all. So we thank you so much for joining, and hopefully we can have another conversation. You ladies will come back and talk again.
Part 2.
Part 2. Look, I'm coming 4, so shoot, that's part 4.
2, 3, 4.
Thank you so much. You all have a great night.
Bye.